Welcome to This Day in His Story, created by American Heritage Worldwide. A reminder that every day holds something new to learn. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin may have preferred the turkey over the eagle as the national symbol of the United States? Join with us as we review his writings on the moral virtue of each bird and see if you think Franklin preferred the turkey over the eagle for the image on the Great Seal of the United States. Okay, I want you to try a quick visualization exercise with me. It's pretty easy. I mean, you see this image all the time. Picture the Great Seal of the United States.
It's everywhere.
Right. Back of the dollar bill, your passport, the president's podium. You see that big, spread-winged bald eagle clutching the arrows and an olive branch. It's just the definition of imperial power, strength, dignity.
It's basically a corporate logo for American democracy.
It is, exactly. Now, I want you to just wipe that image clean. Instead of that majestic predator, imagine a bird that's a little rounder, a little more nervous looking.
Right.
Maybe it's puffing its chest out and dragging its wings on the ground. Maybe it's making a weird, gobbling noise. I want you to imagine the Great Seal of the United States featuring a turkey.
It is a hilarious image. But the funny thing is, for a huge number of people, history buffs, trivia nerds, this isn't some joke. They're absolutely sure it's a fact.
Right, the legend.
The legend that Benjamin Franklin, the genius of the Founding Fathers, officially proposed the turkey and fought this losing battle against the eagle.
We've all heard this, haven't we? It's that classic actually moment. Actually, Ben Franklin wanted a turkey. But the reason we're doing this deep dive is that the story is, well, technically a myth.
It is.
Franklin never stood on the floor of Congress and, lobbied for a turkey.
But, and this is the key thing, the reality is actually so much more interesting than the myths. The mission today is to separate that legend from the facts using the primary sources. We're going to look at Franklin's private letters, the messy congressional records, and even the biology of the birds themselves.
And when you dig into those papers, you realize this was never just about aesthetics or birds. It was a debate about moral character. It was about theft versus honest labor and how this young republic wanted to define itself to the world.
Precisely. It's a story about values. So to really get where this whole turkey rumor comes from, we have to go straight to the source material, the smoking gun, so to speak.
This is a letter Franklin wrote, right? We're not talking about a speech or a proposal.
Correct. It's a private letter written to his daughter, Serbosh, or Sally, and it's dated January 26, 1784.
Okay, stop right there. The date is 1784.
And that date changes everything, because the Great Seal of the United States, the one with the bald eagle, was officially adopted by Congress in June of 1782.
So 2 years before he even writes this letter, the eagle is already the national bird.
Exactly. The debate is over. The ink is dry. Franklin isn't trying to change the law. He's basically just an annoyed father venting to his daughter. He's in Paris, he's getting older, and he looks at this new American emblem and he just hates it.
So he's not seeing majesty when he looks at the eagle. He's seeing something else entirely.
He sees a moral failure. I mean, you have to remember, Franklin obsessed over virtues, industry, honesty, thrift. When he looks at the bald eagle, he writes to Sally that it is a bird of bad moral character.
Bad moral character. That is such a personal attack on a bird. What exactly was his beef with the eagle?
He had three main problems with it. First, he calls it a lazy thief.
A lazy.
Yeah. Franklin was a keen observer of nature. He describes watching the bald eagle perched on a dead tree, not doing anything, while the fishing hawk, what we'd call an osprey, does all the work.
Right.
The hawk dives, it struggles, it catches a fish to bring home to its family.
And then the eagle makes its move.
Right. The eagle just swoops down, attacks the hawk, and steals the fish. Franklin writes that the eagle does not get his deal in honestly. He literally compares the bird to men who live by sharping and robbing.
That is a direct shot at the aristocracy, isn't it? The idea of a class that doesn't work but just takes from those who do.
100%. He is projecting his whole political philosophy onto this bird. He did not want America to be represented by a parasite.
Okay, so the eagle's a thief. What was his second complaint?
That the eagle is lousy. And he means that literally, prone to lice, but also in the sense of being poor and just, wretched. He says the eagle is often very lousy and generally poor.
So it's a thief, but not even a successful one. It's just a scrounger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his third argument is, well, probably the most damaging for a national symbol. He calls the eagle a rank coward.
A coward.
But we think of eagles as apex predators.
Well, Franklin points out that the little kingbird, which is no bigger than a sparrow, can attack the eagle and actually drive it out of the district. He's basically asking, how can we be represented by a bird that gets bullied by a sparrow?
He connects this to the military, doesn't he?
He does. He says the eagle is by no means a proper emblem for the brave and honest Cincinnati of America. He's talking about the Society of Revolutionary War Officers. He's saying, look, we kicked the British out. We're brave. Why would we pick a symbol that runs away?
So he completely tears the eagle apart. Where does the turkey come into this? Does he actually say, we should have picked a turkey?
Not explicitly, no. He starts by making fun of the drawing on the seal. He says the eagle looks so bad it actually kind of resembles a turkey.
Ah.
And then he says, I am on this account not displeased that the figure is not known as a bald eagle, but looks more like a turkey. He's basically trolling. He's saying, good, I'm glad it looks like a turkey because the eagle sucks.
Pretty much. But then he launches into this surprisingly passionate defense of the turkey. He admits the turkey is a little vain and silly.
Which, let's be fair, is true. They are goofy-looking birds.
But, he argues, the turkey is a bird of courage and a true original native of America. And he gives this incredible visual. He says that if a British grenadier in a red coat dared to invade a farmyard, the turkey would attack him without hesitation.
I love that image. So the eagle's up in a tree stealing fish, but the turkey is down in the mud defending the farm.
That is the core of it. Defense versus predation. Franklin valued the defender, but again, I have to stress this was a private letter. It was not a petition to Congress.
So if Franklin wasn't pitching the turkey in Congress, what was happening? Because the story of how we actually got the seal is, well, it's a total disaster, isn't it?
Disaster is a polite word. It was a 6-year struggle.
Okay, let's go back. July 4th, 1776. We declare independence. We need a seal for treaties, for documents, so Congress appoints a committee.
And they appoint the ultimate dream team: Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams.
The 3 smartest guys in the room? You'd think they could knock this out over lunch.
You would think. But when they submitted their ideas in August 76, Congress just hated them. They ordered the report to lie on the table, which is basically legislative speak for, we're going to ignore this until it goes away.
Why? What was they proposing? I'm guessing it wasn't birds?
No birds at all. They were thinking way too hard. They were deep in classical history and the Bible. They're one of these heavy, heavy allegories.
Okay, so let's run through the rejected files. What was John Adams pitching?
Adams was all about virtue. He proposed an image of Hercules at a crossroads. On one side, you have a beautiful woman representing pleasure or vice. On the other, a rugged mountain path representing virtue.
That is very heavy. It's kind of a lecture on a stamp.
It is. And Jefferson went even more complex. He wanted a double-sided seal. On the front, the children of Israel crossing the Red Sea. On the back, Hengist and Horsa.
Hengist and Horsa. That sounds like a law firm. Who are they?
I know, right? They were 2 5th-century Anglo-Saxon warrior brothers. Jefferson was trying to make this very intellectual point about lineage, that Americans were the true heirs to an ancient Saxon tradition of liberty.
That is incredibly nerdy, citing 5th century Saxon warlords on the seal of a new republic.
It's very Jefferson. He's trying to connect all the dots of history.
And what about Franklin? Back in 1776, was he pushing for the turkey?
No. In 76, Franklin's official proposal was extremely dramatic. He also wanted the Red Sea scene. He described Moses standing on the shore, causing the Seine to overwhelm Pharaoh, who was sitting in an open chariot.
Wow. And he had a motto for it, didn't he?
Yes, rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God.
That is hardcore. It's way more revolutionary than E pluribus unum.
Oh, it captures the mood of 1776 perfectly. They were at war. They saw themselves as these almost biblical figures overthrowing a tyrant. They weren't thinking about local wildlife. They were thinking about divine justice.
But Congress just said no to all of it. Too complicated.
Too complicated, too busy. I mean, how do you carve the entire Red Sea, drowning an army onto a seal the size of a coin? It just wasn't graphic design friendly.
So the dream team fails. What happens next?
We go into seal limbo. For 6 years, the war is raging. We don't have a seal. Congress appoints a second committee, then a third.
Still no agreement.
Finally, in 1782, Congress is just frustrated. They take all the rejected piles of paper, the mountains, the warriors, all of it, and they dump it on the desk of Charles Thompson.
And who is Charles Thompson?
He's the Secretary of the Continental Congress. He's not one of the famous founders, but he's the guy who actually got things done. He was sort of the project manager here.
Zippix.
Exactly. He looks through the whole mess and just starts cherry-picking elements. He takes the olive branch from one proposal, the arrows from another, the constellation of stars, but he needed a centerpiece.
And this is where the bird finally enters the chat.
He worked with an artist, Pierre Eugène du Cimetière, who had suggested an eagle, but it was Thompson who specified it had to be the American bald eagle.
So why the eagle, though? If Franklin thought it was a thief, why did Thompson go for it?
Because Thompson wasn't thinking about biology, he was thinking about Rome. The eagle has been a symbol of imperial power for thousands of years. Romans, Charlemagne, you name it. Thompson wanted to say, we are a legitimate, powerful nation, just like Rome.
He wanted gravitas.
He wanted immediate recognition. So on June 20, 1782, Congress adopts the design. The eagle lands.
And Franklin grumbles about it 2 years later. So how did this Franklin propose the turkey myth get so big? If it never happened in Congress, why do we all know it?
It seems to have really taken off during the 1876 centennial celebration.
Ah, the country's 100th birthday party.
Right. By then, Franklin was this huge folk hero. Magazines and newspapers were looking for fun, patriotic stories. They dug up that letter to his daughter, and it was perfect. It's funny, it's a little rebellious, and it features Ben Franklin being eccentric.
It's perfect clickbait, 19th century style.
It really is.
Yes.
It humanized the founders, and it spread so wide that by 1962, the New Yorker actually ran a cover with a turkey on the Great Seal. Just became a shared cultural joke.
Okay, before we move on, I want to go back to the design for a second. We know the eagle holds the shield with the motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. But you found something interesting about what the many actually stood for.
Yeah, this is a detail almost everyone misses. Thompson and the committee explicitly described what the many represented. It wasn't just the 13 colonies, it was their nations of origin.
Oh, really?
The report specifically mentions the rose for England, the thistle for Scotland, the harp for Ireland, the lily for France, the lion for the Netherlands, and the eagle for Germany.
Wait, so the American identity was explicitly defined as a mixture of these specific European countries, right, from day one?
In the symbolism, yes. It was this acknowledgement that the new one was a hybrid. It wasn't just British subjects anymore. It was a new blend.
That connects really powerfully to the whole nation of immigrants narrative. It's baked right into the heraldry.
It is. But let's circle back to the biology for a second, because Franklin made some pretty serious accusations against the eagle. We need to do a little fact check. Was he right, or was he just being mean?
Right. Is the eagle actually a thief?
Biologically, yes.
Yeah.
Franklin was spot on. Biologists call it kleptoparasitism.
Kleptoparasitism, that sounds like a crime.
It basically means stealing food. Bald eagles are great hunters, but they're also opportunists. If they see an osprey with a fish, they will absolutely harass it, dive bomb it, until the osprey drops the catch. Then the eagle grabs it midair.
So Franklin's lazy thief argument holds up?
It holds up. And the coward argument holds up too. Smaller birds like kingbirds or mockingbirds are incredibly territorial. They're faster, they're more agile. If an eagle gets near their nest, they will swarm it. And the eagle, it usually just flies away.
So the symbol of American military might actually runs away from sparrows.
In that very specific context, yeah.
Mm.
And on the flip side, Franklin's assessment of the turkey is also pretty accurate. Wild turkeys are tough.
They are. I've been chased by one. It's not fun.
They have spurs on their legs, they travel in gangs, they are fiercely protective of their turf. If you mess with the turkey's flock, it will fight you.
So Franklin wasn't just making metaphors, he was describing actual animal behavior. The eagle is a powerful opportunist. The turkey is a scrappy defender.
And it's so ironic when you look at what happened to the birds later. The bald eagle became this sacred icon, but we almost wiped it off the face of the earth.
Right, with DDT and hunting.
And just shooting them.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, it wasn't until 1940 that Congress finally passed the Bald Eagle Protection Act.
Meanwhile, the turkey.
The turkey got no Protection Act. Got a holiday where we eat millions of them. But in a strange way, that kind of fits Franklin's view, too. He called the turkey a respectable and useful bird. It sustained the nation. It was a bird of the people, literally on the dinner table.
So, to bring this all together, we went from Moses parting the Red Sea to a 6-year bureaucratic nightmare, to a choice between a lazy thief and a vain original.
It's quite a journey.
What's the big takeaway here? Why does this whole debate still matter?
I think it matters because symbols are arguments. Franklin wasn't really arguing about ornithology. He was arguing about the soul of the country.
How so?
He looked at the eagle and he saw the old world. He saw aristocracy. He saw that sharping and robbing class that lives off the labor of others, and he hated that.
And the turkey represented the alternative.
The turkey represented the common man. A bit rough around the edges, maybe a bit silly looking, but honest, hardworking, and brave when defending its own home. Franklin wanted a symbol that celebrated grit, not just imperial power.
It changes the whole vibe of the turkey myth. It's not just a funny little what if, it's a real question of identity.
Exactly.
So let's leave the listener with a provocative thought. Let's play the timeline game. Imagine Franklin writes that letter in 1776, not 1784. Imagine he rallies the committee, and he actually wins.
And we spend the last 250 years with the turkey on the dollar bill, the passport, the flag.
Does that change us? Would the United States project a different image to the world?
It's fascinating to think about. The eagle says, I am dominant, I rule the skies, don't touch me. The turkey says, I am grounded, I'm unique, I'm a little weird, but if you step on my property, I will make you regret it.
A vain but courageous nation. It's a less threatening image, maybe. A bit more humble, but still tough.
It certainly would have made us seem less imperial to the rest of the world. And maybe we wouldn't take ourselves quite so seriously.
That's a good point. It's hard to be pompous with a turkey on your crest.
It keeps you humble.
Well, next time you have a dollar bill in your pocket, or if you're lucky enough to see a bald eagle in the wild, don't just see the freedom bird. Try to see the lazy thief that Ben Franklin saw. Or imagine the gobbling defender that could have been.
It definitely makes history feel a little more alive.
Thank you for joining us for this day in his story. May the lessons of yesterday inspire you to see God's hand today and to play your part in his story now. For more faith-based learning, visit ahsworldwide.org, the homeschool for faith and family.